Evangelion. One of my very favorite shows, and honestly, also one of the most iconic anime franchises that exists today. You can thank a lot of anime for their inspiration because it came from Evangelion. So many series have tried to mimic and duplicate the deepness of Evangelion and what it has created in what seemed to be a strange mech show. Now, over the years, I have collected tons of different Evangelion stuff, and of course, Evangelion Unit 1 is the iconic star of the fleet of Eva. Such a cool design with that purple and green and those hints of orange in there. Everything here is incredibly cool looking. But why would we stop at just a simple figure? No, we need much more. So forgive me if today's figure seems a bit simple, but I think it's incredibly unique. And that's of course because it's really not even a figure. This is the Evangelion Unit 1 head. This is the awakened version of Evangelion Unit 1, and this of course is from Evangelion 2.0, You Cannot Advance. Spoiler alert, this is of Evangelion Unit 1 when it transforms into a more berserk state and awakens. Shinji becomes far more in sync with the Evangelion, and somehow it unlocks these angelic-type godly powers. There's not much to show you as far as the box goes. It's big, there's a huge window, there's windows on the side, and everything here is nice and visible, and the back shows the actual product, but that's a bit too much of a spoiler, so let's open this and get in there. And here we have Evangelion Unit 1's head. Obviously enough, there's really not too much to talk about here, but of course the details on this thing are the bulk of what you are looking at. Now from afar, you can't really see too much because, well, all the smaller details are a bit obscured from the distance, but this thing is a pretty decent size. The actual head is somewhere around 10.5 inches tall, but with the horn, this thing is closer to 13 inches, so that's pretty impressive. Trying to frame everything right is a little hard, but from the tip of the horn to the back of the head, it's about 12 inches long. And that gives you a little bit better scale of just how tall the thing is. It is basically 10 inches, closer to 10.5 when you really consider the way the bumps are. But really, this thing is wonderful. From those translucent eyes to the very deep ridges on its face, where you can see the bit of red hinting through the purple, there's so much here to love. On the fins, you can see these small details that are actually cut in, all of these little accent marks and little bolts and stuff like that. It's all really well done. The only detachable thing here is the horn, and that is the one thing that it doesn't come with attached to it in the box, because then, well, the box would need to be even longer. When you have to detach this thing, it's a bit annoying because it's a very simple fitting, and I feel like over time that could get really bad, but so far it's not terrible. It is a bit wobbly, but you're not going to be playing with this thing, so there's really no worries there. But just taking a look at the details in the face here, from behind these metal chompers here, you can actually see what appears to be more human-like teeth. And they're incredibly dark, maroon teeth, almost as dark as that super dark red tongue in there, but it all works really well. The contrast from the silver to the dark red is subtle, but it's enough to show you that those are not regular teeth inside. They're more organic, meaning that this thing is more than just what you can see from the mechanized shell. What's really neat is when you take a look at this thing from different angles, it seems almost as if all of this silver here and that dome looks sort of like a human skull. This is all thanks to the design of the Evangelion, but it's really awesome to see it at such a large scale. And of course, even on the back of the head, this thing does have more details actually etched into the plastic. And as far as the plastic goes, it looks great. There's a shine to it. It's got a very metallic look, but it doesn't look cheap. On smaller figures with gloss, I'm usually very finicky about that because gloss can look kind of nasty, but here it looks respectable, and it looks more like a proper robot, I guess. So the aesthetic works rather well, and everything here just has been perfect so far. Even inside the fin on top of the head, you can even see some more detail. That small bit of mesh filtering it looks like inside of there, just another little tiny thing that wasn't really necessary, but it does make sense for it to be there. And overall, all those little details, even these little tiny cuts inside of the plastic, beside the deep ridges in here, are all just wonderful little nods at this thing being a mech. Inside of the eyes, we can see that black band around the entire thing, but of course, just beside the actual iris of the red, we can see tiny little, what appear to be maybe open slits in those tiny little diamonds on each side, showing that this eye was absolutely opened up. And all of that is wonderful, but we're not quite done with the features of this thing. Here on the base, we can see the actual plaque on the front that says Evangelion Test Type 01, all very fitting and colored rather appropriately. But when you tilt this thing further back, there's something else here in the form of a door. As you can see here, there's a single Phillips head screw, and if that is undone, you can open this, and there are 3 AAA battery slots inside. But what could a big static head need with some batteries? Well, once you've powered the Evangelion with the appropriate AAA batteries, you'll notice that there is also a tiny little switch right here. But what could this button do? Well, now that we've zoomed out and powered down the lights, let's go ahead and hit that switch to see just what happens. And there we have it. Bright, glowing red eyes. Yes, it would seem that there is a single light in there that actually powers rather nicely with some newer batteries, and this thing lights up in a wonderful way. This looks amazing, incredibly appropriate for something like Evangelion, especially an Evangelion that has been awakened in the way that Eva Unit 1 has. But you know what? I feel like maybe we can make this look even cooler. So, let's do that now. And just look at that light. I'm kind of amazed at just how bright it truly is. You can't really see anything else, unfortunately. If I put just a small bit of illumination, you can really see the teeth and the shape of the head coming in, and this is just absolutely amazing. From beneath, we go ahead and illuminate that mouth in such a horrifying way. This is the true bestial form of Eva. And that's pretty much everything. That's all there is to see here. It's just an awesome little bust of Evangelion Unit 1. And it's not even really a bust, it's its head attached to a black kind of pillar that looks sort of more like a mountain, really. It strangely does capture the way the neck is shaped and the shoulders kind of come in on the collar and all that for the Evangelion, so I do appreciate that, but ultimately all I wanted was the Eva's head with some glowing eyes, and I got that. Now, for price. I will say that the thing was a bit expensive. Now, I bought it secondhand, but from what I understand, the initial pricing wasn't that much better. There were 2 different versions, and the other one was just a standard Evangelion Unit 1 head, and from what I can understand, they were around $80 normally. I think I paid close to $100 for what I have here, and I think that's fair compared to the original price, but trying to find one now is pretty annoying. So if you do want this and you are a huge Eva fan like me, I can absolutely recommend it. But as far as a rating goes, I don't know if I could give it a number. There's really not much to consider other than the fact that it is a great looking representation of the Evangelion's head. The only flaws are that the horn is a bit flimsy and the battery door is a bit of a pain to get off even with the proper screwdriver. Other than that though, I mean, it's a head, so does it look good? Yes. Would I give it a number? Fine, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I think that's fair because the thing could do more for that $80 price ticket, but I don't want to use that as the impetus for why I would give it a number. The pricing is not that big of a factor. Ultimately, once you get the figure in hand, the idea is if it does live up to expectation, and this absolutely did. I would just like for it to maybe do a little bit more. Still, what do you think? Am I crazy for buying something like this, or do you think it's as cool as I do? Why don't you let me know? Drop a comment below and like the video if you did like it. Are you an Evangelion fan? Are you ready for the final Evangelion rebuild movie? Well, drop a comment or join the Discord and talk about it with us there. You can even get yourself a free Kingu sticker. But that's going to do it. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Please click a video on screen, even if you have seen it. It does help the channel either way. Thank you again, have an amazing weekend, and keep on collecting.